All right, so I'm back, first time in a while. Had to squeeze in watching The Furious before it was pulled out of theaters, and I've been hearing a lot of buzz about it since it came out. Only vaguely saw one of the trailers, and worth catching. I'm just going to be straight up. If you like, East Asian, Southeast Asian action flicks, I've heard comparisons to the Raid movies, which, truth be told, I'm way less familiar with that than I should be, considering the kind of movies that I like. I really should get around to watching those movies because I've heard nothing but great things about them. But The Furious is just pretty much a straightforward, hardcore martial arts, gritty action flick about a mute father trying to rescue his daughter from human traffickers and a journalist slash like private investigator trying to rescue his wife. Both, they're looking into the same thing. And so inevitably these two guys end up crossing paths, and then basically the movie unfolds as it conventionally would from an action flick of this type, And the best comparison I would say would be pretty much like as if this was like John Wick, except purely martial arts. Considering the country they're in, guns aren't really a big factor or anything like that. So the movie gets very creative with the action set pieces and the fight choreography. And just in utter chaos, because it's usually like multiple assailants against one guy, and it doesn't it's done so in a way to where it's not totally obvious that it's like rehearsed and stuff, where like one guy is waiting their turn to hit and stuff like that. It's very frenetic, it's very chaotic, and it's very gritty, and it's quite, it's just nonstop. Naturally, I guess with these kind of movies you would have to suspend your disbelief in terms of whether or not like realistically, like after if you get hits, you're out. Like you'd either be dead or seriously injured or just knocked the fuck out. But if you can turn that off and enjoy this Asian sort of action flick, it's pretty good fun. Very happy that I saw this in theaters. Definitely worth if you can catch, because it's on its way out, because there's a bunch of other movies coming out right around now that's crowding up the the theater screening schedules and stuff. And so if you can squeeze it into your day, catch it in theaters. I had to catch a 9 a.m. this morning for this one. Excuse me. Catch it in the theaters. Otherwise, definitely watch it on streaming. But I'd say it's very much worth your dollar. And pretty much one of the better movies I've seen lately. That's not been Obsession or Backrooms or Project Hail Mary and stuff like that. The other movies are kind of like that I've seen were like, oh, okay, that was cool, but this one actually like raised the bar enough to where it's like I can emphatically recommend this movie if you're into action flicks. It's pretty engaging, and I did quite like it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, honestly, I went into it so blind that I can't really commend or know any major names. I know Joe Taslim from the Mortal Kombat movies. I think he plays Bihan and Noob Saibot on the new movies. He was good. He was one of the main guys. He was the reporter dude. He was great in the movie. One thing I did notice is that I was going in there expecting this to be purely subtitled, and they made a creative choice to make it partially. And that's the element that kind of took me out of it, because I know that they wanted to get a mass appeal, and unfortunately, at least here in the United States, people still refuse to freaking read or for foreign movies, which is like, come on. With the amount that people love watching original subbed anime and all that stuff, and the amount of people that put on subtitles for regular English stuff because of the bad mixing on streaming and all that. Come on, man. You don't really have to... if it was a creative choice, yeah, sure, whatever. But if it was like a business choice to make it sort of, more palatable to general audiences, nah, because honestly, I think doing it like Narcos style, where it's like, if actors speak, like basically go into the assumption that this is sort of like an international, nondescript, sort of non-specific city with an international thing where English is somewhat the universal language, but people speak like Thai or Filipino or Chinese, the Cantonese or whatever, and then a mix of English. Sure, and just assume that everybody's just kind of on the same wavelength, that everybody's multilingual. Do the Narco style, where keep the Spanish stuff and subtitle it, and then keep the English stuff English. You know what I mean? I would have preferred that because I know that some of the acting and the dubbing it's better than I would have expected at this rate for like a localized, foreign movies and stuff. But I would have come out across a little stronger, at least with the acting, if these are not just martial artists or stunt people acting as proper actors. I would have preferred it to be in their native languages, and then I would have read it because I can enjoy that. I know I'm going in. It's a foreign movie. I know what I'm going into. So and sometimes stuff gets lost in translation, or the intonation on the localization is kind of lost. But it's better than the average of what I was expecting for that. But I was kind of just going in there expecting a purely, non-English speaking subtitled action flick. But it's pretty straightforward in regards to it's just how it plays out as an action movie, except the fact that it's just pretty fucking inventive with the fight scenes and the choreography and stuff. Much like like I said before, much like John Wick, if you turn your brain off as to regards to how much punishment and damage these regular people can take, and still keep going, because that's one of the least realistic parts of this movie. You'll enjoy it. If you like this action-packed flicks and stuff. No explosions, no big budget. I gotta look up the budget of this movie because it looks very well done. If it is a lower budget movie, similar to what Godzilla -1 was, or the Obsession. Not really, it was low Obsession. Basically, the movie does not look cheap. It looks very well made, very well polished. The cinematography, the lighting is great. The way it was edited was pretty good, to where even with how chaotic the second, third act, which the movie kind of dried down a little bit on the second, third act, to be perfectly honest. It just kind of, it was ready to wrap up in such a way that it would have wrapped up nicer if the ultimate overall villains were folded into the story a little bit better, to where it was just simple 1, 2, 3, and not the second, third act of the second, third act was great, but I think the movie would have overall flowed better if the overall antagonist was fully folded into the main plot and not taking a backseat from the rest of the movie, to make the final climax of it a little bit more engaging and tied in with the main character's stuff. Because it just, you know what I mean. You'll know what I see. You'll know what I mean when you see it. And that was one thing I didn't kind of trust, but it was great. And again, like I said, the editing was done in such a way to where, even for how frenetic and chaotic and how many characters were fighting on screen at once, I, for the most part, was able to follow along with the action pretty good. So I don't know how much of it was improv on the day. It's kind of getting my stunt sort of mind scratching that itch to where, how do the coordinators and the choreographers plan this? Do they rehearse well in advance to save budget? Or do they look at the environment that the set dressers have and then just kind of go on the fly? Not necessarily on the fly, but plan it in such a way to where everybody's on the same wavelength, to where they can shoot it on the day, half sort of improvised, or is it how thoroughly planned out? I'm wondering, the ratio of purely choreographed to stuff that's invented using the environment, because sometimes you're not sure what you're going to film in. You're not sure what's going to be around, what it's going to look great until you get there, and then you might want to come up with something else. You don't want to be an undisciplined hack and wing it all constantly, because it's hardly ever going to do good. But also, you don't want to meticulously do it, because then sometimes it might not work whenever you ultimately get there. You know what I mean? So I wonder what the ratio is of that. Yeah, but overall, though, great flick. Happy I saw that. Dreading one other movie that I'm probably going to force myself to see, just to see it for myself, so I can get a fair review and give my honest take on it. And I think you guys know what I'm talking about. I would have preferred to have done it the other way around, but honestly, I just had better things to do. I had to take it earlier. This was worth getting up early in the morning to go see, in the one showing that was available near me. But I got some other stuff to watch and stuff, and then I'm going to work on more uploads and stuff. So I'm getting more videos out as regular as I can. But anyways, yeah, there's my quick review, my rambling review of The Furious. Go check it out. Great. Probably one of the better movies still in theaters right now. There's some other ones that I'm kind of prioritizing over there, because it's scratching my itch. So I'm going to see about whether or not I'm going to prioritize, as niche as it is, movies that I want to see, and then, you know, force myself to watch stuff that I have morbid curiosity about. But anyways, yeah, there's my review of The Furious. Check it out. Streaming, theater, ideally. Buy it if you want to add to your collection of action flicks. It's a great movie, so yeah. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.